All right, let's jump right into this. Today, we're taking a look at a genuinely intense, incredibly dense piece of source material. I mean, at first glance, the document we're unpacking today can feel totally overwhelming. It's this massive web of personal grievances, technical jargon, and wild, sprawling conspiracies. But as an explainer, our job is to map all of that out for you. We're going to objectively break down the architecture of the author's worldview. It's a fascinating, albeit pretty dark, journey into a mindset that sees reality as fundamentally weaponized. It's a really powerful look at how extreme paranoia constructs its own undeniable internal logic.
To instantly grasp the sheer density and, honestly, the chaotic nature of this text, just listen to the terminology packed into this single sentence. We've got cognitive psychology, secondary evidences, invisible persecution, and, wait for it, powerful electromagnetic waves. The author is blending legal jargon with advanced, basically sci-fi level technological claims. It's a total flood of ideas, and it immediately tells us we're dealing with a deeply entrenched belief system. In the author's eyes, the legal, the psychological, and the technological are all actively conspiring against the individual.
So, to make sense of this absolute word solid, we've structured this explainer into four main pillars. Number 1, the complex text. 2, police and psychological testing. 3, hypnosis and electromagnetic waves. And 4, the global conspiracy. Let's get into it. Okay, part 1, the complex text, setting the stage. We'll start with the foundational grievance at the heart of this document. The text introduces this really unique concept called the reverse framing of sin. This is the term the author uses to describe a completely weaponized legal system. Specifically, they point to false rape charges, but they frame these not just as bad police work, but as a deliberate, malicious reversal of morality. In this worldview, the justice system is actually the villain. It actively takes an innocent person, a normal person, as they call them later, and artificially stamps a sin right onto them. It's the ultimate betrayal by those in power, and it completely sets the stage for the intense paranoia that follows. Moving right along to part 2, police and psychological testing, authority under scrutiny. Let's see how this broad paranoia turns into highly specific allegations. What really grounds this abstract paranoia is that the author starts directly naming names. They call out the Mumbai and Assam police, aggressively questioning their competence and their methods. It shifts the entire narrative from a vague, corrupt system to very specific geographical targets. The text demands to know, are these specific police departments actually talented enough to run what the author calls behavioral tests? Now, this is where the claims get, well, pretty bizarre. The document alleges that authorities use forced physiological testing to literally fabricate guilt. The author specifically claims police use pornographic images to force a physiological response, an erection, which is then recorded and used as psychological proof of lust toward a victim. In the author's mind, this isn't an investigation at all, right? It's a rigged trap. It's a mechanism designed entirely to validate false allegations and prove abnormal cases using this weird pseudoscientific behavioral testing. So how does this work in practice? The author outlines a 4-step playbook for what they call invisible persecution. First, police gather secondary evidence. Second, and this is absolutely crucial to the paranoia, this evidence is deliberately hidden from the accused. Third, the police just use their own twisted internal logic to satisfy the judge, totally bypassing real judicial scrutiny. And finally, Indian Penal Code, or IPC, charges are forcefully filed. The author firmly believes this sequence is a rigged game, built from the ground up to destroy a normal person under the illusion of the law. You can really see how the text paints a starkly divided black and white world. On one side, you have the victimized, normal person. They are helpless, tortured, and forced to respond against their will. Pitted directly against them is the authority, which the author says is driven entirely by an ego-driven behavioral response. Power, according to this text, exists just to prey on those who actually respect the law. It is a completely binary, zero-sum view of society. Which brings us to part 3, hypnosis and electromagnetic waves, the technological paranoia. This is where the text radically escalates from legal complaints. All right, strap in, because here's where things take a massive sci-fi turn. Conditioned, hypnotic, forced vocal response. The claim here is that unseen adversaries are using literal gadgets with powerful electromagnetic waves to hijack a person's speech and actions. The author believes people are entirely stripped of their physical and vocal autonomy. So this invisible persecution isn't just happening in a courtroom anymore, it is happening inside the victim's own mind and body. The author then introduces this mysterious shadow group of certified hypnotic students, and they are allegedly planting the seeds of a sinful future. The language here, like hanging attraction, is super abstract and poetic, but it's deeply threatening within the context of the manifesto. It paints a picture of a coordinated effort by highly trained individuals actively manifesting a dark future through allegations and hypnotic influence.
But here is the craziest juxtaposition in the whole document. Despite the grand apocalyptic scale of these hypnotic attacks and electromagnetic waves, the text claims the actual motivations are incredibly mundane. The author genuinely believes this massive, high-tech mind control apparatus is being deployed to block video games, to restrict internet access, to stop the victim from earning money. It's wild, right? Cosmic, godlike technological persecution all being used for everyday domestic sabotage. It really highlights how deeply this paranoia has infiltrated every corner of the author's daily life.
Finally, Part 4, the global conspiracy. Serpents and cosmic justice. Let's see how these personal grievances expand into surreal global conspiracies. The language here becomes intensely visceral. The text compares a human being to a helpless rat tortured by global entities. This is the ultimate expression of powerlessness. In their mind, the victim is first broken by corrupt local humans, like the police, and then just discarded, tossed aside to be consumed by a much larger, much darker global force. The document claims these global forces, the serpents of the West, are responsible for conducting horrifying medical experiments aimed at literally reducing human lifespans. We have moved entirely out of the realm of local law enforcement now. The author is weaving a narrative involving massive Western global powers manipulating human longevity. It frames their own personal struggle as just a single data point in this horrifying worldwide agenda. But right in the middle of all these massive cosmic claims, there's this one super specific detail. The author specifically demands justice for exactly 99 victims. It really prompts you to wonder, what is so special about that exact number? The text explicitly asks, what's special about this 99? It's incredibly striking. In a document filled with vast generalizations about authority and global serpents, they anchor their entire demand for justice to this exact, unexplainable number. It hints at a highly specific internal catalog of perceived wrongs that only the author truly understands. Ultimately, the text tries to figure out the source of this massive conspiracy. It attributes the design of these horrific experiments to either sinful, accountable personalities, meaning corrupt human authorities, or, incredibly, an animalistic higher intelligence that senses threats like a dog. The author is desperately wrestling with the why. Is this happening because of human malice and sin, or is it an instinctual, almost biological reaction from some higher intelligence trying to eliminate a perceived threat? We'll leave you with this final thought straight from the text, inviting you to ponder the intense psychological state we've just unpacked. When someone wholly believes they are the subject of false psychological experiments of horrific consequences, their entire reality shifts. Through this explainer, we've traced the logic of this source text, from claims of false legal framing to invasive physiological tests, to hypnotic mind control, all the way up to global medical conspiracies. It serves as a complex, stark map of a mind that perceives itself under total invisible siege. But it leaves us with a haunting question. In an age of digital isolation and endless echo chambers, how close are any of us to constructing our own invisible persecutors? Thank you so much for joining me as we decoded this incredibly challenging material today.